Distinguished guests here in Singapore and all over the world, I am Joo-Ho Lee, Chairperson of Education Commission Asia and Commissioner of Education Commission and former Minister of Education, Science and Technology. I am delighted to speak to you today to present High Touch High Tech for All. First, it is my pleasure to introduce an amazing young woman who represents a powerful voice of future generations.
I am Khaloula del Prado, an 8th grade student from the Philippines. I'm honored to represent millions of children like me to speak to all of you today. Thanks to scholarships, I've attended good private schools for most of my years in school. All 9 long years so far. And today, I want to share with you why education is important to me. I recently discovered that in low-income countries, 90% of children are in learning poverty, meaning they cannot read a simple text at age 10. As a young woman who aspires to be an author, actress, and/or singer-songwriter, my life has always revolved around reading and writing. Nothing can replace the experience of delving into a new universe, so finding out about the millions of children who are unable to read truly saddened me. When the pandemic started, online school came like whiplash. It made my eyesight worse, lessened my motivation, and hurt my mental health. The academic pressure weighed more than ever, and I missed the human side of the student-teacher connection. I remember my history teacher in 4th grade having us line up and play games to enhance our learnings, and he made school so much more fun than it ever was. Virtual schooling made me think about how technology has come so far, but the COVID response was an abrupt one. This made me wonder, how much more can technology improve while the human connection continues to suffer? What would a purposeful, thoughtfully designed online schooling look like? How can we connect technology's potential with the essential human touch that teachers provide to unlock education for all? Education has to be accessible to all eager to learn. As someone who's had the opportunity to learn English as a second language, I've been able to help my family. Along with this, as a young member of society, I've learned that education is power. Education fuels the capabilities of these hands and this mind that you'll be leaving your future to. The future of this world is up to the youth, yes, but it's up to the adults to show us the way. As Mahatma Gandhi said, we must be the change we wish to see in the world, so change we all must. The youth of the world are ready for change, and we call on the adults, all of you, to help us change it for the better. Thank you.
As chair of the Education Commission, I'm delighted to join you virtually at the Philanthropy Asia Summit, this great event, and to discuss with you how we can radically transform education together. In 2020, economies came to a standstill, but in education, progress has not just stalled, but sadly gone into reverse. The term lost generation is widely used when displaced young people bear the brunt as refugees of civil wars and conflict, as is the case in Syria, Yemen, Myanmar, Somalia, Ethiopia, and now Afghanistan. But today, the term lost generation has a worldwide resonance, as a total of 1.6 billion children in 188 countries who were deprived of months of schooling during COVID-19 struggle to catch up. Before COVID, 258 million school-aged children were not enjoying any education. Now the figure is closer to 300 million. Millions sadly have abandoned education, with 10 million more child brides, 9 million more underage laborers, and millions more rootless youth now on the streets rather than in classrooms. Before COVID, more than half of the developing world's 10-year-olds could not read or understand a simple text. Now it's more than 60%. And that's more than 450 million children. They are in learning poverty, and they cannot read a simple text by age 10. In low-income countries, that figure is a staggering 90%. As a result of the deterioration, today's young people stand to lose as much as 16 trillion in future earnings. Education has been a victim of this crisis, but at the same time, education is also the solution. Education is the most powerful driver for a healthy people and a healthy planet. No economic health or climate recovery can even be complete or ever be sustained without a recovery in education. But education budgets have sadly been tightened. At a time when we need to do more, education has been given less. There have been cuts in government expenditure in individual countries and cuts too in international aid. But if building back better is to happen quickly or at all, we need to do more and we need to think outside the box. We need to pursue innovative ideas that can have maximum impact. That is why the Education Commission and its hub in Asia, under the visionary leadership of Commissioner Zobel Lee, are spearheading what we call the High Touch, High Tech for All initiative. This initiative grows out of the recommendations in my Commission's flagship Learning Generation report, because evidence shows that personalized learning approaches, such as teaching at the right level, improve learning results. Personalized learning works, but it has never been achieved at scale. It has been only for the lucky few. And there is promising evidence that shows now that tech-supported personalized learning can significantly improve learning outcomes at scale, especially for those left furthest behind. High touch, high tech combines the power of human touch. That's the benefits of teacher as tutor with the power of adaptive technology. We recently launched the High Tech, High Touch for all global consortium to design, test, and scale high touch, high tech approaches across the world. I call on partners at the Philanthropy Asia Summit to join this global consortium that can bring about great change. And this initiative could offer young people hope where today it has been fading fast. Hope dies, when a young person cannot plan or prepare for the future, is unable to even dream of a better life. But hope can come alive when young people can bridge the gap between who they are and what they have it in themselves to become. We must reverse the course of this global education crisis. We must invest in proven scalable solutions that can truly deliver inclusive and equitable quality education for the world's children. Our shared future depends on this. Let us come together to meet this moment. Let's make sure our precious children and our young people do not become a lost generation, but they become a learning generation. Thank you.
Thank you, Gordon and Khaloula. When I became Minister of Education, Science and Technology in my late 40s, I think I was quite welcomed by the people in South Korea. While I was not as inspiring or popular as BTS, people were waiting for a change. Korea's prioritization of education has served as the key driver for its rapid and equitable growth since the 1960s. But entering into 2000s, that was no longer the case. In 2011, when serving as a minister, I remember President Obama praising Korea's education system and feeling a bit uncomfortable, as I was in the middle of trying to make fundamental changes to what I thought was an education system that badly needed reform. A new learning model was overdue then. It is long overdue now, and we really cannot wait any longer. The High Touch, High Tech for All initiative has truly been a long time coming. There are two engines driving educational change and impact: the high touch provided by teachers and the high tech provided by technology. Through my time as a minister and my more recent work with Education Commission, I came to realize that we have an opportunity to deliver quality, personalized education at scale when you combine teachers with new technology. High Touch, High Tech enables us to move away from every student receiving the same lesson at the same time, to each student having their own personalized learning experience at the right time. With the AI-assisted adaptive learning technology, tailoring instruction to individual student levels and needs, teachers are able to provide personalized guidance and more active learning experience to nurture students' 21st century skills, such as creativity, critical thinking, communication, and collaboration. While the evidence is still accruing for high-touch high-tech, the initial results were impressive. Our first prototype project in Vietnam demonstrated learning gains of 0.436 standard deviation, equivalent to 2 years of learning in just one semester, and with greater impacts seen for lower performing students. Teachers also reported significant improvement in their personalized teaching practices. In Korea, we have already seen over 1,200 K-12 students and 1,800 college students benefit from this approach through the National High-Touch High-Tech Consortium that Education Commission Asia launched last year. Within just a year and a half, the consortium has grown to include 5 local governments, 28 universities, numerous other educational institutions, and many edutech companies. Survey results for a high-touch high-tech project involving more than 200 students in the Seocho district of Seoul show that program participation improved learning attitudes and confidence in understanding course content, solving complex problems, and enhancing future learning prospects. One teacher at a school for North Korean refugees had numerous learning approaches with no success until she was introduced to high-touch high-tech. And I still remember what she said to me: if it can work here, it can work anywhere. She is now one of the most active leaders in the high-touch high-tech consortium. Through the collaboration of the diverse leaders, innovators comprising this consortium, I have seen many glimmers of hope into the potential of high-touch high-tech and its scalability. After searching for a new learning model for over 30 years, I am confident that I have found it in the high-touch high-tech approach, not only for Korea, but globally. The opportunity to transform education is now, so let us unite in vision and mission so that we can truly deliver high-touch high-tech for all. Now let's turn our attention to the screen to hear from the voices of those who experienced the high-touch high-tech firsthand.
In the past, these students, even though they have the potential, they actually failed. But now, with this suitable guidance and suitable adaptive guidance, they can actually now succeed.
Yeah.
We are in this exciting time, exciting stage, and I think education, the whole new innovative approaches in education now are ahead of us. So I'm very excited.
이처럼 AI는 학생들의 자신이 취약한 부분을 개별 학습할 수 있다는 것이 가장 큰 메리트고, 앞으로도 이러한 AI가 학생들의 교육 격차를 해소하는데
고쳐져서 이해가 잘 됐습니다. 그리고 문제집과 달리 영상, 게임같이 다양한 방법으로 공부할 수 있다는 것이 좋습니다. 저는 집에서 혼자 문제집으로 공부를 하면 집중이 잘 안 되는데 센터에 나와서 친구들과 함께 기기를 사용해서 공부하니
saca un poco la presión de la corrección, ya porque los niños saben si hacen un ejercicio, si está bien o está mal. Entonces no necesitan del maestro directamente en ese mismo instante para que le esté corrigiendo, sino que el maestro puede dedicar a trabajar con otros alumnos que estén en otra parte o hayan presentado otra dificultad o necesiten mayor apoyo.
Over the last 2 years, we have been working on the high-tech, high-touch project together with Education Commission Asia. We strongly believe this is a very powerful methodology and approach for teachers to apply in the classroom.
What
When I first used Alex, it left a great impression on me. The concept of studying using devices has been around for a while, but Alex made that concept interesting. Alex incorporates high-tech and high-touch learning, which is very innovative. Because we are in the fourth industrial revolution, this change from normal textbooks to online work was definitely needed.
As a student who experienced high-tech, high-touch, I would recommend using Alex as a solution to enhance our experience in learning, to enrich our mathematics knowledge in a really smart way.
It's a great pleasure and honor for me to be involved and share the experience I've had.
I'm pleased to share that our school has been applying Alex even when the pilot was ended.
Thanks to this project, I've grown so much as a teacher, and I have had a lot of joy along the journey. I hope high-tech will reach as many students and teachers from all over the world as possible.
Now that we've heard the promise of high-touch, high-tech, I wanted to share with you our call to action. With your support, we would like to do 3 things. 1, spearhead the high-touch, high-tech for all global consortium that Gordon mentioned to create a globally connected community that designs, tests, and scales high-touch, high-tech around the world. 2, we will design, pilot, and evaluate high-touch, high-tech in Cambodia, Indonesia, and the Philippines. And 3, we will conduct a rapid feasibility study in Ghana to seed high-touch, high-tech in Africa. Given the success of bringing multi-sectoral partners together in Korea, as Juho mentioned, the global consortium was launched. The aim of this is to really catalyse the global ecosystem, addressing key bottlenecks and accelerating the scale-up of high-touch, high-tech worldwide. We will do this through 3 things. Analyse. We have a strong focus on research, data, and analysis, and will share evidence and lessons on what does and what doesn't work. Act. We will collaborate with governments and country partners to design, pilot, and evaluate, and more importantly, create those ecosystems that will enable it to scale. And amplify. We will facilitate global learning and action, broker cross-sectoral partnerships, and catalysing financing for scale. We plan to work with organisations such as UNICEF to build on their innovative digital learning work with Reimagine Education. We are delighted to have established really strong partnerships with governments and local partners in 4 countries. While Cambodia has made progress in access, more needs to be done. Only 10% of children aged 15 achieve minimum proficiency in maths. With partners such as Teach for Cambodia and the Ministry, we aim to improve learning outcomes in maths and 21st century skills for 10,000 lower secondary school students through working with 300 teachers and school leaders to harness high-tech adaptive learning with high-touch, innovative pedagogical approaches. With high interest from the Indonesian Ministry to modernise teacher training institutes, we will work with the Tanoto Foundation to pilot high-touch, high-tech for pre-service teacher education. We will work with their network of teacher training institutes to test this new adaptive and experiential approach to training teachers in order to improve literacy outcomes in partner schools. And in the Philippines, a 2019 international assessment showed underperformance in maths. With support from the Department of Education, we will work with the Ayala Foundation to pilot high-touch, high-tech to improve learning outcomes in maths, with the goal of reaching 10,000 primary school students and 300 teachers and school leaders in some of the most marginalised last-mile areas of the archipelago. And finally, high-touch, high-tech for Africa really is a new frontier. we're excited to work with Ghana's Ministry of Education to conduct a feasibility study to develop the best fit approach for this context. So over the next 3 years, with your support, we will design, implement, and evaluate 3 country pilots in Asia, 1 feasibility study in Africa, and drive the global consortium to ensure global learning, actions, and partnerships for sustainability. With your support, we will reach at least 20,000 children with improved maths, literacy, and 21st century skills. We will equip 1,200 teachers and school leaders with personalised and active teaching approaches and catalyse 3 country ecosystems for scale. And finally, we will create global public goods and partnerships that can contribute to a digital learning expansion around the world. We look forward to working with you to pioneer this personalised approach to education for all. And just a final thought, so many areas of our life are personalised, from the way we shop, to the music we listen to the TV we watch. Why not personalise the one thing we value for our children? Why not for education? Now we are delighted to hear from Fernando Zobel de Ayala, the CEO, President and Co-Chairman of the Ayala Foundation, one of our partners, and then we will hear the voices of some of the people in some of the countries we plan to work in.
Thank you for this opportunity to speak about the education challenges in this region, as well as the unique opportunity that we currently have to make a difference in the lives of so many young children through the power of technology and personalized learning. Within Asia and the Pacific is an estimated 1.1 billion under the age of 30, or around 60% of the world's youth, who will become the workforce of emerging economies and the industries of the future. This potential, however, is hampered by the challenge of learning poverty, which Mr. Gordon Brown correctly described as a challenge that must be immediately addressed. At the Ayala Foundation, as well as in the for-profit sector, we have been participating in the educational sector in the Philippines in a significant way. This is a key pillar of our social impact efforts. We're faced with a critical problem in the Philippines, with as much as 60 to 70% of children being unable to read basic text by the age of 10. Technology holds tremendous power to be the great equalizer of educational opportunities by providing the facilities, equipment, and knowledge required by an increasingly digital world. The high-touch, high-tech for all initiative will certainly help in a very significant way, transforming the role of the teacher to meet the learning demands of the 21st century and empowering students to gain the relevant behavioral and technical skills needed to succeed in the new global economy. The Ayala Foundation is privileged to take part in this initiative. We believe that this is a unique moment to make this happen. While we recognize the challenges and pain caused by the pandemic, it also resulted in an exponential surge in online education, e-commerce, and new digital services. We are encouraged that recent research by the World Economic Forum showed that 70% of students in Southeast Asia believe that online education will persist well beyond the pandemic. It is our firm conviction that the time to make an indelible impact to the education challenge is now. Individuals and organizations are called to be meaningful partners in this movement for change. With technology's vast potential, we believe that high-touch, high-tech for all is an excellent path towards the progressive world that we are collectively building. We hope that we can work together in this journey. Thank you very much.
Learning from the coronavirus pandemic, we see how technology plays an important role in learning and teaching. We don't really want technology to totally replace teacher, but we want both teacher and technology help student learning. So I strongly support the high-touch, high-tech project in Cambodia.
Dạ, ខុសវិស័យក្នុងការទទួលយកនៅកម្មវិធីនេះពីព្រោះកន្លងមកសាលាក៏ដូចជាអ្នកគ្រូទាំងអស់ធ្វើស្វាស្វែងណាស់ដើម្បីរកបច្ចេកទេសថ្មីៗក្នុងការបង្រៀនឥឡូវនេះបើសិនជាមានកម្មវិធី High Tech នេះគឺថាខ្ញុំនឹងទទួលយកកម្មវិធីនេះដាក់ងាយស្រួលដល់ការសិក្សារបស់សិស្សដែលសិស្សរៀនយឺតរៀនខ្សោយអីគឺសិស្សអាចជួយរៀនខ្លួនឯងទៅតាមការបច្ចេកទេសថ្មីរបស់កម្មវិធី High Tech
The HTHT project will help teachers like me serve our students better. The trainings and mentoring sessions will be useful in helping motivate our students to enjoy math. The assessment data from the program will ensure that content is personalized for students and adaptable to their level.
I, as a teacher, and you, as our partners, play an important role in education in this time of pandemic.
Education plays a critical role in creating a modern society. With the quality of education that HT can bring, it can give equal opportunities to the underserved Filipinos, creating a better life with better employment opportunities and better paying jobs.
ខ្ញុំក៏សង្ឃឹមថាខ្ញុំនិយាយទៅចង់បានកម្មវិធី High Tech ហ្នឹងនៅក្នុងស្រុកខ្មែរយើងដើម្បីឲ្យការបង្រៀនរបស់ខ្ញុំផ្ទាល់ដើម្បីជាការជួយដល់សិស្សហ្នឹងឲ្យវាមានកាន់តែប្រសិទ្ធភាពខ្ពស់ហើយក៏សិស្សហ្នឹងក៏គាត់មានជំនាញសតវត្សទី21ដែលជាជំនាញមួយដែលបច្ចុប្បន្នហ្នឹងយើងត្រូវការមែនតើ
So thank you very much for keeping with us to the end. We know we're right at the end, but we've got time for just a couple of questions. Firstly, Juho, I will ask you, how can uptake of high-touch, high-tech be increased in developing countries, and which stakeholders need to be engaged?
Yeah, it's a very good question. So maybe many developing countries are lacking proper infrastructure, such as network and connectivity. But I think it's really a good opportunity for those countries to try high-touch, high-tech, because we can overcome the problems of infrastructure by prioritizing high-touch, high-tech education. Because you know that this is really the period that requires fundamental change in education. So every government should really prioritize educational changes. So rather than complaining the lack of infrastructure or something like that, we really have to encourage developing countries to invest more in education, along with investment in infrastructure that are required for high-touch, high-tech learning.
Thank you, Juho. And just to add on the stakeholders, we're using the Midjar's ecosystem approach, and that gives really clear categories of all the stakeholders that need to be engaged, not just in infrastructure, but obviously teachers, school leaders, people from communities, to find an approach, a way of adapting this approach to work for that local community. And just one more question. What are we testing about the model, and how do we contextualize it for different contexts?
Yeah, it's also quite an important challenge. So I think every country should have a good ecosystem to encourage collaboration among innovators in edutech industry and innovative teachers, because you know that this new technology has a lot of potential for education, but it has to be developed through the collaboration with teachers. But rarely innovative teachers and innovative startups in edutech industry rarely meet each other and work together each other. So it is very important to provide an ecosystem so that they can work together, closely work together, and develop new advanced technologies in education, and find a way to apply those technologies in the classroom.
And just to add about adapting to different contexts, we're very driven by the adaptive software available in the country, by the digital connectivity, by the capacity of teachers. And so we do adapt it. It's an approach that we really believe can be contextualized to the needs of each country. Time is up. Thank you very much.